if you are thinking that heat waves are still just seasonal weather changes, they are not. They are rapidly becoming climate, health and economic challenges. And if you do not believe me, look at the numbers. 3,400 deaths because of heat wave, and there's a lot of underreporting also involved in this. But why are we not determining the risk, the vulnerability that comes with it, and most importantly, the warning that climate change is real, happening, and it's rapid as well. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session we are going to understand this very challenge, how it is emerging and what are the costs that we have to bear. So the first thing that we need to understand today is that what exactly is happening. So as of now, when we talk about the summers of 2026, out of world's hottest 100 cities, 98 cities were located in India. When this happened, we had covered in detail. You can go back and watch that episode of Flash News as well. But now that the 9-day severe heat wave has dialed down, we know that we have seen temperatures crossing 45, we have seen certain places temperatures crossing 50 as well. What has emerged in front of us as the fact that heat waves are not just seasonal changes anymore. They have become long, and at the same time they have become intense as well and also more frequent. Furthermore, another problem that is emerging in context of heat waves is warm nights. Earlier, we did not see that as a threat, but this is the new emerging threat because this is not leaving any recovery time at all, especially from the day heat stress that was created. Now, when we are looking at this situation, as I said, the numbers are telling that this is something that is a real problem that needs to be addressed immediately, even in the short-term planning manner, and long-term definitely needs to correspond with it. But why we are saying so? We are saying so because we are clearly seeing that as of now, heat-related mortality has increased in a single day of extreme heat event. What we are seeing that approximately 3,400 excess deaths have happened. And when we are talking about this number, if this turns into a severe 5-day heat wave, it may cause nearly 30,000 additional deaths. Now, when we are looking at these estimates, they are conservative estimates because a lot of factors are involved related to underreporting. This is not showing us the exact mortality rate. Now, when we talk about underreporting, why underreporting? Because when we are talking about heat, the impact that it creates on the body might show up as heart problem, heart attacks, respiratory diseases, kidney complications, dehydration and so much more. So, in order to classify it a heat stroke death is something difficult. So, the numbers are conservative and highly underreported. But the problem you have to see here is that we have created the cause for these number of deaths in a day. We have created a cause which is leading to these many deaths in 5-day heat wave event. Now, we have talked about numbers. I have established that what exactly has happened. Let us start from basics, starting with understanding, if you haven't covered, that what exactly is a heat wave. So when we are talking about a heat wave, you have to understand that this is something that we establish in relative and also absolute manner. For example, if the temperature in hilly area goes above 30 degrees Celsius, it will be declared heat wave. If we are talking about maximum temperature in plains going above 40 degrees Celsius, it will be a heat wave. But heat wave conditions also prevail in relative temperature, that how farther is the deviation from the normal temperature. So, if we are looking above 40 degrees Celsius and the deviation is 4 to 5 degrees Celsius or more, then it will be considered a heat wave. If below 5 to 6 degrees Celsius deviation or more will be considered heat wave. But severe heat wave, another classification that we have, normal temperature 40 degrees Celsius and deviation is more than 6 and below 40 if the deviation is more than 7 degrees Celsius, that is when it is classified as a severe heat wave. Now this has been given how? By the Indian Meteorological Department. Now this is when we have understand what is the situation when we are talking about saying that there is a heat wave condition. Now let us also understand that how heat wave is caused. So there are multiple factors around it. Now there are two direct factors that we will be talking about. Actually one direct and one facilitator, catalyst, accelerator factor that is present. Okay. The primary factor is definitely the meteorological factors. Now what we get to see that because of the increase in temperature, we have persistent high pressure system, and this is responsible for trapping the hot air near the surface, and this leads to increase in temperature. Another factor, meteorological factor, as of now we have cloudless skies. That means maximum solar heating will be possible. Then another added layer, when we are talking about atmospheric moisture, that is non-existent. That is why we are seeing extreme dry heat. When dryness is present, it increases temperatures. Another factor that you have to consider, that the arrival of monsoon has been delayed, which is not providing any relief to the conditions that we have seen, and to worsen it, we have hot and dry loo winds which come from northwestern India, and they are intensifying the heat stress created from the first three factors. Now these are meteorological conditions. There is a limited amount of influence that you can create here, but if you do things right way, you can definitely control or accelerate them. Unfortunately, we humans have decided to worsen the situation, because when we look at the human induced factors, first we have the broadest thing that you can cover is climate change and global warming. The heat stress meteorological factors have created, this has further enhanced it. Second thing, in a situation where you are seeing less and less trees and green cover is shrinking, trees could have reduced the heat stress, created shade, more oxygen, facilitation in terms of atmospheric condition, creation of water vapors, all of this reduced. Then to increase the heat stress, we have urban heat island effect because of concretization, lack of green cover and more, and rapid urbanization and rising energy consumption is responsible for adding more greenhouse gases, which further increase the heat trapped in our atmosphere. So all in all, human induced factors could have actually reversed it probably, or at least controlled it, if we had afforestation, more plant cover, at least given us some sort of protection, but that has been taken away, stripped away, and as of now we are looking at amplified version of the heat stress that was created. And that is why we have to understand the challenges, the impacts that come from this heat wave that we are talking about. Now, when we have understood heat wave, we have talked about what is the condition that is looking like as of now. Now, let us understand that what are the impacts. When we are talking about impacts, I think one impact very clear that the study has highlighted is the numbers, the lives that it is taking away. But add to that, we have direct impacts on economy. Labor productivity losses, where we are seeing that workers reduce outdoor work hours, and if the workers are working outdoor, they are the most vulnerable. Billion of labor hours are lost annually because of this. Then when we are looking at agriculture, backbone of Indian economy, this is where crop damage, reduced yields, livestock stress, declining milk production, and all of this will threaten nothing but our own food security. Apart from that, we are also seeing that there is a direct stress on the energy sector. This is the year where there has been record electricity demand and power shortage as well. This is where we are seeing increased use of ACs, coolers, pumps, and this is leading to grid stress, power failure, power outages, and this is where we are seeing that we are further adding to the problem. More energy requirement, more production, and we are continuing the vicious circle. So what will happen as a result? Your health will diminish, heat stroke can happen to you, health expenditure will increase, Preventive expenditure will also increase. Food prices will increase because of the food security issue and increased risk of droughts and wildfires. You can clearly see that how hills are burning, be it Himachal, Kasauli, you can see multiple fires, forest fires have been reported, how it is burning up. This is a live example, a live warning that what the climate change, what the human induced factors, if not addressed, if not understood, can do. And amidst this, not only these consequences matter, we also need to see that who lies at the risk. There is vulnerable population such as elderly, children, pregnant women, but outdoor workers, be it farmers, construction workers, they are the ones who are at the highest risk. And the recovery time is not left because of the warm night. And with this, we have another layer of problem, that is regional inequality. There are certain regions which have greater risk, especially where the money is lacking. Poorer states will face greater risk because they have weaker healthcare system and lower adaptive capacity. For example, that very study shows the fact that if you are looking at Uttar Pradesh, it faces the consequence of excess of 8,000 deaths as compared to other states. Now, the funding and the planning needs to be in accordance to that. Furthermore, urban centers such as Jaipur, Ahmedabad, they are of at equivalent risk. But in this, we have to understand that what is the framework that we are following. So, we have three institutions in this whole understanding. First, we already know IMD. Second, we have NDMA. And third, we have National Institute of Disease Control. That's it. That's all we have in the framework. Second thing which is not uniform across our country is the National Heat Plan. It was launched in Ahmedabad in 2013. It has been replicated across the states in different manners, which includes early warning system, which talks about public awareness campaigns, water kiosk, stocking of ORS at the Anganwadi centers and others, and emergency medical services as well. But how it has been implemented on ground level is still limited, and especially with the states which have limited budget, this is far from reality. So the question here is, what should be done? So when we are talking about way forward, first we have to plug the loopholes. The existing measures, for example, the forecasts which are given by IMD, the early warning systems, heat action plan, all of this needs to be first surveyed, that how much it is actually delivering on, and then loopholes need to be plugged. Where heat action plan is a champion on paper, we also need to see how much it is working on ground. But long term, this is where all the stakeholders need to come in. Me, you, government, NGOs, everybody. Cool roofs, forestry, afforestation, urban forestry, green covers, city planning also needs to become climate resilient, heat resilient, focusing on infrastructure and surveillance around heat mortality, expansion of cooling shelters, drinking water facilities, protection to outdoor workers, and also moving towards climate resilient agriculture. Now, what are your suggestions in this? Let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. I'll be leaving you here with a prelims practice question. Let me know the answer in the comment section. Thank you so much.